Let me start by saying fluoridation should never have started. We simply should not use the public water supply to deliver medicine. And since fluoridation began in the States in 1945, we've never used the water to do this. We put a number of chemicals in the water to protect the water, kill the bugs, but this is the only time where we use the public water supply as a vehicle to deliver medicine. And it doesn't take you long to realize that that's a stupid thing to do. Because once you put a medicine in the water, you can't control the dose. And not only that, but you can't control who it goes to. It goes to everybody. It goes to bottle-fed babies, it goes to infants, it goes to children, it goes to elderly people, it goes to sick people, it goes to people with poor nutrition, people with poor kidney function. It's ridiculous. There's no medicine that you can give to everybody. And then no one's monitoring side effects. And the third thing, which is the real showstopper for many people, is you're violating the individual's right to determine what medicine they take into their own bodies. So it should never have started. Having started, and having been propelled more by politics than science, there have been several key moments when it should have stopped. And one of them was in 1999, when the Center of Disease Control, or rather the Oral Health Division of the Center for Disease Control in the United States, admitted what many dental researchers have been finding for 10 or 20 years, that the predominant benefit of fluoride is topical. It works on the outside of the tooth, not from inside the body. In fact, there's no evidence at all that any biological process or substance in the body needs fluoride. It's not a nutrient, not an essential nutrient. But then they confirm it by saying it works topically. And so I think to any rational person, if it works topically and you've got fluoridated toothpaste universally available, there's no place on earth you can't get it, brush it on your teeth and spit it out. This way you reach the target organ without exposing the rest of the body.
So why was the decision made to put fluoride in water?
Well, there's a whole book. There's a whole book written about that, called "The Fluoride Deception" by Chris Bryson, who showed a lot of economic interest. There was collusion between the U.S. Public Health Service that endorsed fluoridation before any trials have been completed, before there's any significant health data published. There was collusion between the U.S. Public Health Service and the Fluorine Lawyers Association that were protecting companies from lawsuits pertaining to fluoride pollution. But I believe the greater fear was the thought of the liabilities to their own workers. Their own workers in the aluminum industry, the steel industry, and other industries where you get a lot of fluoride used in extracting metals, were exposing their workers to a lot of fluoride. And I think they thought to themselves, if we could show that fluoride was safe enough to put on your cornflakes, then obviously there was no problem with these other processes. But the bigger question is, why does it continue today when the scientific evidence shows that it doesn't work, which I've just pointed out there, and that there are serious risks involved? I mean, let's take the simple ones. The one that nobody denies is that fluoride causes dental fluorosis. This is a mottling of the enamel. They content themselves by saying, oh, this is just a cosmetic effect. It's only, just doesn't look too good. In actual fact, though, we now have 41% of American kids between 12 and 15 who've got this condition, which indicates clearly that the kids have been overexposed to fluoride before their permanent teeth have erupted. You can't get it after the permanent teeth are out. But 41%, they thought it was only going to be 10% when they started. And then in its only very mild form. 8.6% of these kids have it in the mild form, which is up to 50% of the tooth impacted. And even the father of fluoridation, Trenley Dean, in testimony in US Congress in the 1950s, said that mild dental fluorosis was not acceptable trade-off for reducing tooth decay. So the father says mild is not acceptable. We have 8.6% of American kids. We also have 3.6% of American kids have either the moderate form, where 100% of the enamel is impacted, or the severe form, in which 100% is impacted with chipping. and the York Review, which is England's biggest contribution to this debate so far, in 2000, estimated that 48% on average, of people exposed to fluoridated water would get this condition called dental fluorosis. And of course, this isn't just from fluoridated water. This is all sources of fluoride combined, the total dose of fluoride. But if you're a public health official, that's what you've got to be concerned about. It's not as if when you put fluoride in the water, everybody magically stops using fluoridated toothpaste or stops eating food that's been had fluoride residues from pesticides and fertilizers on it. No, all those sources continue, but you know if you add fluoride to the water, you're going to increase the number of people with this condition.
In Bedfordshire, they stopped putting fluoride in our water in 2009.
Yes.
But they didn't say anything.
No.
Why do you think they might not have said anything? And why should they need to say anything?
Well, it may be the people at the waterworks are on our side. Maybe they've decided that they don't think that their job is treating the population with medicine. Mm-hmm. And they're only too pleased that to use some excuse that the equipment is crapped out or whatever, to stop doing it and not make too much of a fuss. And as long as they don't make a fuss, then people might not know about it. But I have a very simple formula here for the councillors at Bedford. Hooray! You have joined the majority of the civilized world. You're not fluoridating your water. You're not forcing medicine on people. You've joined 97% of Europe that does not fluoridate its water. You've joined most of the most famous cities in the whole of the world who are not fluoridated. Congratulations. Now that the promoters of fluoridation have found out that you stopped for 3 years, you say, right, if you want us to restart fluoridation, it's quite simple. Find one scientist, one dentist, one doctor from any of your professional bodies or your government agencies who will come to Bedford and debate Professor Paul Connett. And I promise that if you can find somebody with the confidence to do that, it's not the confidence in their ability to deal with me, it's the confidence to use the pitiful science that they have to tackle me. I will come back to Bedford and gladly debate them. But if they don't have the confidence to defend their position against all comers, I'm the comer in this case, then you should not have confidence in having them recommend, without taking any liabilities for it, recommend that you restart this. So it's a very simple formula. Put up or shut up. If you want it, defend it. If you can't defend it, we won't start it. We won't start it again. Simple.